It is not working. Okay, here we go. This is the form that we use when we go to a top star prospects. When we start our business, or when any of our associates start our business, we get this sheet out. They fill all the people that they know in their warm market. So what you're going to learn about today is if you combine the people you know with cold market, which are people you want to know or people you walk up to, so then all of a sudden that cold market becomes warm market, you literally have what we call all-out massive action. So we call everyone we know, and we walk up to everyone we don't know and turn that don't know person into somebody we now know. And that experience on 1, 2, 3, 5, 10 times per day can turn into all-out massive action. So we combine everyone we know. We're making these calls. These calls are going to our wealth building tracking form. But there's also another philosophy we have that helped us explode our business. We added to the people we knew, people we wanted to know, chose to know, walked up to, people in Starbucks, grocery stores, airports, you name it. That's called turning cold market into warm market. Now I want to go through the system first, so when you hear what Jolene's going to teach, we take that activity and we plug it into our system. So we're efficient and productive. All right, so here's what all your warm markets on this list. Your 3-foot rule does not go on this list. Last week we talked about we share the service. We can share the service to the people we know, people they know, referrals, people we want to know, choose to know. We walk up to them, we see them, we walk up to them. That's a choice, all right? And that's called on the street warm market. And then we also learned that we can share the business the same way. People we know, people they know, and people we choose to know. People we walked up to on the street, called on the street warm market, using the 3-foot rule. All right, when we walk up to someone on the street using the 3-foot rule, which you're going to learn about today, what do you do with all that activity? And here's the key is how many NEW, new prospects do you add each day to your Wealth Builders tracking form? This is the litmus test. If you're not having the success you want, this is the examination. This is you in the mirror. This is what you really are doing. This isn't your dream. This isn't your, oh, I'm going to reach director and I'm going to make this kind of money and all that. This is the reality check, the real deal. This is what you've actually done today, and it looks like this. If I walk up to a 3-foot rule person, I'm going to put their name and their phone number because I'm going to get that information. And the intro call, or the first time I ever met them, the date would go here, 9/26. And then if I gave them what Jolene's going to show you, a website to go to, 9/26. I'm going to put the date that I met them and what I did on that date, and in this particular case, maybe I gave them a website to go to and check out and see if this is a fit for them. So that I put 9/26 there. Then Jolene's going to talk about kind of how you follow up and stuff. So if I followed up and ended up with a sit down in 2 days, I'd put 9/28 right here in this box, sit down. And the whole key of this is that you have this success with the next person you bump into, the next person you put prospect number 2, prospect number 3. Maybe you made some calls off of your list. You put that and they were interested, so they become part of the exposure process. They go down off of your top prospects onto your Wealth Builders tracking. And so you are adding all the people you meet 3-foot rule and the people on your top prospect list that you call. If it was a top prospect list, you'd add their name here, like number 4, and you put their name there that you made the intro call, the date of the intro call, and what happened on that call. Maybe you set up an appointment for the next day. So here's the #1 daily key for you, income-producing activity, is how many new prospects do you add each day to this. The goal is that you get the success, increase your level of success, because one of these 3 things are going to happen with everybody you talk to. You could get a referral, a sale, or an associate. And that's what it's all about. Now, the coming up and walking up to somebody, the 3-foot rule program that you're going to learn about today, the first thing is you walk up to them and see what happens. That increases your chance for success. The next thing you do is follow up, and the key for us, as we know, is that we can get a presentation. A presentation could be at a briefing, a presentation could be an executive luncheon. A presentation could be a one-on-one that you're meeting with them the next day. But the number of presentations, those go on your PDA. So how many new presentations are you making each week is the next litmus test to the true success that you're having. How many new people are you approaching? That's your marketing. That's your val pack. That's your billboard. You're going out there to advertise, advertise, advertise. Not everybody that looks at an advertisement goes to that store or buys that product. So when you walk up to somebody, that doesn't mean they're going to be interested, but you increase the opportunity, the chances, the probability of success because you did walk up to them. And how many presentations? This is where it's really getting exciting, because every single presentation you actually meet, and you control the presentations. You're going to see them at their office. You're meeting them for breakfast or lunch. When you go to the presentation, out of that presentation will come referrals, a new associate, or a new customer, or all three. So when you are actually having a presentation, that's when you know you're really raising your chances for success. So use the system. Leadership starts with the word lead. You can't teach what you don't know. You can't lead where you won't go. And let's go on to, now that you know the system of where these names are going to go and how you're going to follow up with them and keep it all orderly so you have productivity with this new concept of the 3-foot rule. Let's turn it over to the presenter, Miss Jolene Campbell from Dallas, Texas, Executive Director. Jolene, are you out there?
I am. Thank you so much, Darcy.
Okay. Let me just ask you a quick question before you get started. Jolene, you've been with the company for how long?
I'm celebrating 16 years this week.
16 years with Legal Shield, and your #1 recruiting and membership process to bring in new customers and new business recruits is what?
Well, always starting out with the warm market list. That's always where everybody starts, and then expanding out into the cold market just to get into their warm market. And it doesn't matter what channel you're talking about, and I'm going to go into that in the training about the different channels and how the system works in all those different channels. But it's always about opening up a new relationship. It's opening up that new relationship to lead to the next steps that you've already talked about.
Okay, great. So you just tell me, we'll go to your first slide here, and I'll pass it over to you.
Okay, fantastic. Well, first of all, I want to say that, with this 3-foot rule, it's always about finding the satisfied customers to turn them into the raving customers that want to become the associates and refer people to us, in all the different channels that we have with Legal Shield. And #1, we are in the people business, so people is what our inventory is. We want to always be able to have people to talk to, whether they are warm market, whether they are people that we meet out in the marketplace. And so it's a way to expand our list. And this system that I'm going to be sharing with everybody this morning is very easy to duplicate because it's something that's very, very simple. It's very affordable because the approach is something that is, it's smiling and being yourself and handing somebody a business card. So it's easy to do. And again, it will translate into any channel of the Legal Shield business. If you're in the marketplace specifically to recruit, if you're in the marketplace as a B2B salesperson to go into the employee benefits market or the small business market, it works there. If you're in the B2C channel and you're doing sit-downs with individuals to sell memberships and get referrals, it works there. And it also works if you meet a broker. So it's the same system that you utilize over and over and over again without having to worry about changing up. So one of the things that I love about what Darcy was sharing with everyone this morning and that she shares every week on the webinar is that there is a system in place that you don't have to change things with every single opportunity. You can utilize the same system, the same methodology, and you'll be able to have the results. Now, in the 3-foot rule, the posture is very, very important. So what we're going to be talking about this morning is the approach, then going to building rapport, qualifying, going back to getting their information so that you can get information to them, and then following up so that you can do the presentation that in any one of the channel markets. So we'll go to that next slide about the approach. The approach is very, very simple. And let me give you guys some stories about what I have done before I talk about the specific approach here. And while I'm talking about it, you all can write down these words. these words are very, very important because I have seen people try and add things to it or change the wording just a little bit, and I'm going to share with everybody why the wording of this is very, very important as well. But the great thing about this is that you can say this if you're in your business attire and you're out in the market in a very professional manner. You can do this if you're in your yoga pants and your workout clothes or running your errands. You can utilize the same process. You can do this while you're on vacation. And I have some examples of all three of those processes that I did this exact same thing with my business card and asking these questions with all those different environments. I was in a situation where I had walked into a coffee shop, and there was a gentleman that was standing in front of me in line at the coffee shop. And I looked at him, and I thought he was a very sharp individual, definitely somebody that I wanted to recruit, but I didn't know whether he was a business owner. I didn't know exactly what he did. But what I did was I asked him this question. I handed him my business card, and I said, if I could ever help you, would you give me a call? And he looked at my card, and the card has Legal Shield on it, and he saw the name. He said, Legal Shield. He said, where were you yesterday? And I started laughing, and I said, well, I wasn't here, so I'm meeting you this morning. And he said, well, what is Legal Shield? And I said, this next question, if you knew you could pick up the phone, ask a legal question, and not receive a bill, would you? And I started out by saying, well, let me ask you a question. If you could pick up the phone and talk to an attorney, ask a legal question, and not receive a bill, would you? And that's the beginning of the approach and the rapport. And let me explain a little bit about that process, because no matter where you are in any situation, you can hand somebody a business card. You don't have to think about what you want to say to them initially. I didn't have to say something clever to him about, asking him if he was a business owner, asking him if he was in sales, and going down a path that might have led me to not being able to make an approach. All I simply did was hand in my business card and say, if I could ever be of help, would you give me a call? And that's the approach. Now, I did this again on vacation when we were in Jamaica. I was in the elevator, getting off the elevator with one of my team members, and there was a young lady that was in the elevator, and we were talking to her just about how fun it was to be in Jamaica. And we handed her our card and said, if we could ever if we could ever help you, would you give us a call? And she immediately responded to that with, she was an attorney. Now, she asked us the question about, well, what is it? And we responded back, I responded back, the same question. If you knew you could pick up the phone and call an attorney and not get a bill in the mail, would you? And then when she responded, we took it from there. She ended up being a recruit. She ended up fast start qualifying using this exact same system within 1 week, and she's on her way. Now, the first gentleman that I met in the coffee shop, he was a business owner. The first thing that he did was he bought the small business plan membership. Then he bought the family plan membership for himself. Then he opened it up to his employees, and then he became a recruit. He became a team member, and he's now doing the same system. So it works across all the different channels in what we do. Again, it doesn't matter whether you're cold calling. It doesn't matter whether you're standing in line at the grocery store. It doesn't matter whether you're standing pumping gas at the gas station. You can utilize the same system everywhere. Even in networking groups. If you're at a networking group and you're walking up to somebody, you can just hand them your card and say that same question. If I could ever help you, would you give me a call? When people are knowing that you are interested in them and that you want to honestly be able to help them, they are going to open up a little bit more to you so that you can understand a little bit more about where you can take it to that next step of whether it's going to be a personal membership, a business membership, or whether they're interested in the business itself. So the key thing about this is that you want to have your business cards with you at all times, and you want to have the posture of knowing that you're out there to help people. So Darcy, if you'll go to the next slide. Let's talk about the rapport part of it, because in the rapport part of it, definitely you want to be yourself. You want to be able to, definitely be genuinely interested in them. If you come across to somebody like they are going to be a sale to you, they're going to probably tell you that they're not interested in doing, in calling an attorney. But with your posture, you're going to find that the more and more that you do this, that you're going to get the positive response of, yes, I would. Yes, I would call an attorney if I didn't have to get a bill in the mail. So the first thing that you want to do is agree with their positive response and expect to get a positive response on that. One of the things that inspired me about this process is when the market research of Legal Shield came out, knowing that so many people wanted to know what Legal Shield was, and the 60% of the population would want to have a legal plan at some point in time. I knew that it was a process of just developing the rapport, developing the relationship. Some people would get the membership immediately. Some people will get it 6 months from now, and some people will get it a couple of years down the road. But if I can get their information from them so that I can be in that follow-up process, then I'm going to have a better result. And building rapport is a big, big part of being able to have that relationship developing. So you and other people, that middle ground there is that connection. So the connection that you want to have with them is to truly show the genuine interest in them. This can be a whole training in and of itself, how to build rapport, but the principles of building rapport are very, very simple. It's small talk. It's not selling. It's not selling to them at that time. It's asking people questions in a way that's an easy flow of questions, so that you're not just doing a, what's your name? Where are you from? What are you doing? It's developing the relationship of asking a question and then pausing to listen to what they have to say. One of the questions that I always like to ask when I'm first handing out a card to a stranger is, where are you from? Do you live around here? Because one of the things that you find is that some people are in your area from another area. They could be just from another part of town, or they could be from another city altogether. And that way you can start that process of finding out a little bit more about them. When you ask questions and you listen to what they have to say, a lot of times they're going to tell you exactly why they would call an attorney and ask a legal question if they didn't have to get a bill in the mail. And by you having the position of strength, of knowing that you've got an incredible service, knowing that you have an incredible company that you're representing, all of the things that Darcy and John have been teaching, over time about, really being able to have that great system that we have in place to be able to share with people. The key thing about building rapport is that it just takes a little bit of time. You don't have to stand there for 10, 15 minutes to find out about people, because many times when you're doing your 3-foot rule process, you may only have 30 seconds. So smiling, having the concept of, I'm here to help, if I can ever be of help to you, just give me a call. That's going to go a long way in just developing that rapport. I'll give you a couple of examples of some quick rapport building that I did yesterday. I went to the Office Depot to make a couple of copies, and while I was standing in line, there was a woman standing in front of me that was very, very sharp. I handed her my card, did this exact same process, and really didn't even go very far into the rapport building, because she was getting copies too. So I had 30 seconds, and in that 30 seconds of time, all I did was I asked her what she did, because she was dressed very sharp, and I commented on that. I said, you're dressed very sharp. What do you do for a living? She told me that she was an insurance agent, and I asked her the question. Well, let me ask you a quick question. If you knew you could call an attorney and ask the question and not get a bill in the mail, would you? And she said, of course I would. And I agreed with her positive response. And I said, I know, right? Everybody says that. And she said, what do you guys do? And I said, let me just do this. Do you have your calendar with you? Do you have a time in the next week or so that we could sit down and I could share with you what we do? And she pulled out her calendar, and I have an appointment with her next week. So it was that simple, that quick, in 30 seconds. And then after that particular process happened, the girl that was at the Office Depot working the desk made the comment about, wow, I love networking at work. And I said, I know, isn't it great? And I said, by the way, let me give you my card too. If I can ever be of help, let me know. Would you give me a call? And she looked at the card and she said, oh my gosh, my husband has something going on right now. I would love for he and I to talk to you about how you could help us. So I have an appointment with her as well. So within 1 minute's time, I had 2 appointments to sit down with 2 different individuals, one who works at an Office Depot and one who's an insurance agent, to share the story of Legal Shield. After I left there, I went over to a retail store. And while I was talking at the retail store about what they were doing with purchasing something, I handed the salesman my card and did the exact same process. And he opened up about something that was a legal situation that was going on with him. Now, again, that rapport, just because of being able to do that with that very short question and offering your help, people will respond to you and let you know what it is that they could be helped with, and you'll know from their response whether it's something that will be an immediate appointment to set. Means that it's something big, that it's something traumatic. And so at that point, when I ask the question, and I say, before you put that card away, let me ask you a quick question, and they answer in the affirmative, I will then say something to them about our trivial to traumatic. I want them to know at that moment that it's not just about the big things. But if they're responding immediately, yes, of course I would, then I know that it's something that I can take into a little bit more of a sense of urgency to get the information to them right away. So let's go on to the next slide about qualifying, because this is the point where you're going to be able to understand how quick of Legal Shield, of being able to get the information to them either through a website, either through watching the video on their phone, however you do your process of getting the information immediately to them. I personally like to share that 2-minute video, the overview video, because I know that that's going to tell the story in a very short period of time. It's the system. It's the way that everybody that watches that video, we know that 85% have a positive response to it, and many of them will want to know more at that point. So the purpose of this is to gain their follow-up information when you ask them those questions. And remember that asking questions is always the way to lead to the information that you want to get, rather than telling them something that telling is not going to get you to the next step. Asking questions and listening to what they respond to you, that's where you're going to get to the next step. So let's go to the next slide. Because after they watch the video, I'd like to give you a quick call. So you're already sharing with them at that point that you are going to follow up, and that's your purpose, is to get them the information and to follow up. So at that point, you can then ask them for their information. Now, I've seen people that ask for information by asking for permission to ask for the information. And what I simply do is I just say, well, give me your phone number and your email address or text message, whichever way is the most convenient for you to get a quick follow-up. And here's a tip about that. If you notice on the screen there, as we're going to that slide, there is I put a little graphic of a cell phone. Now, for those of you who have gone through basic training, there is a pre-written text message email that you can send out to somebody that is a productivity tip. Anytime that you can, minimize the amount of work that you have to do, that you will automatically send something to them. You don't have to write an individual email to every single person. You don't have to write an individual text message to every single person. But this is what I like to do after I've given them my card, because my card has my information on it. My card has my website. It has my email address. It has my phone number. But in order to simplify it for them and also to get their email address and or their cell phone, I tell them that I can send them a quick link that they can just click on to watch a short 2-minute video, and that way it would make it easier for them. And I ask them if they would like to have that. That way you can get their cell phone number to send them a text message if that's the way that they would like to get the link, or an email if that's the way that they would like to get the link. And if we'll go to the next slide, this is the exact program that I have, or the exact email text message that I have pre-programmed into a Notes app. Now, I have an iPhone. Many people have Androids. There is a Notes app on whether you have an Android phone or an iPhone. Now, if you're not a technology person and you are using email only, that's great too, because you can pre-write this into your email, and all you have to do is change the name. You just change it to Hi Mary, Hi Sue, Hi Bob, and then the rest of it is completely there. Here's the link to the video that we discussed. Please click on video number 1, review it, and feel free to share it with others. And of course, you want to put your information in there. And if you, one of the things that if you have, again, been through basic training, this is in your basic training book. And if you haven't, if you don't have your basic training book, you can get it in the back office in the portal of Legal Shield on the basic training slides. So it's easy to type that in. It's easy to just forward that out, and that way you have the automatic follow-up. So let's go to the next slide on follow-up. And in follow-up, this is where you want to do a little bit more qualifying, because some of the questions that generally people will have or the objections that they have is that, well, I have to talk to my spouse. That's something that we hear quite often. Or I have to talk to my business partner. We hear that quite often. And so when you do your follow-up call to them, if you ask them this question first, did you have a chance to watch the video? Did you share it with your spouse? Did you share it with your partner, your business partner? Then you'll know whether they have already shared the information with that other party. I prefer to meet with somebody after they have already seen that video. It's not absolutely necessary to do that. It is a productivity tip. That way, if you get them to watch the video before you meet with them, you know that they're more interested in it to do something more immediately. However, if they haven't watched the video and you get an appointment to meet with them, you can either show them that video or you can utilize the consumer folder and do whatever you need to do in your presentation. But the presentation part of it, the follow-up, you may have to follow up 3 or 4 times. You may have to follow up 10 or 20 times. It depends on their level of interest at the time, and it depends on how long in your process you're going to have to go. For some people, you can do that in the first month, and you'll know that you have a member or a recruit immediately. And for some people, they'll be in your follow-up file for 6 months, a year, maybe longer. I've recruited people in the last couple of months that I started this process with them 2 years ago when I started using this approach. And they are now starting the business because it wasn't time for them 2 years ago, but they showed an interest in their response to the question that I asked them 2 years ago, so I continued to stay with them. So what we want to do is always get them the full information. The full information for some people, if they are very technically savvy, they may go to our website. They may be the kind of person that they'll go to the website and watch all the videos and decide for themselves right there and then that they want to get the service. They may decide for themselves that they want to become an associate with you through that. But one of the things that we know is that most people will not do that. Most people will need our help. They will need our intervention in the process to help them to take those next steps and to go to the next level. So having the appointment with a business owner, having a sit-down one-on-one with the B2C, having a group presentation, whatever you do, inviting them to a luncheon, inviting them to a business overview, utilizing the system with 3-way phone calls, utilizing the system with the process of the tools that we have, and utilizing this concept of mastering the 3-foot rule is going to get you a lot more prospects. It's going to expand your warm market, and it's going to allow you to go into their warm market as well. One quick thing that I will say about the process when you're asking that question, if they respond no to you, no, I wouldn't do that, still ask them for a referral. Well, do you have any friends? Do you know anybody that might be interested in calling an attorney and asking a question if they wouldn't get a bill in the mail? You can ask them for referrals of, do you have an insurance agent perhaps that I could talk to, because he probably or she probably knows people that this could be of help to. So regardless of whether their answer is no or yes, you always want to ask for referrals, because as Darcy was talking about with one of their associates, that person came from a referral that said no to them when they approached them. So it's always looking for referrals, looking for warm market, and turning the cold market into a warm market so that we can then go to that next step. So Darcy, if you go to the next slide, we're going to talk about the last step, which is referrals. So regardless of what their answer is, you always want to ask for referrals. And the key to asking for referrals is being specific. If you ask somebody to just give you a broad question, do you know anybody who would be interested? Many times they're going to be saying, no, I really don't know anybody that would be interested. But if you ask them a specific question like, well, do you know anybody who has teenagers? Because perhaps their teenagers are just starting to drive, and we could help them to keep their insurance costs down in the event that their teenage drivers get a ticket. Do you know anybody who has children that may be under the age of 5? Because we know that if they have small children, that we can talk to them about the identity theft program, the Safeguard for Minors, or we can talk to them about getting their wills done. Of course, who's your insurance agent, and where do you work, and where does your spouse work? All of those specific questions are going to be able to lead you to other people, whether they are just getting the membership from you or if they're becoming a new team member with you. Now, many times, as we know, if we're getting a membership from somebody and we're asking these referral questions, and then we go out and talk to the referrals that they've given us, then we're going to be able to go back to that person and say, you had 5 friends that I contacted, or 3 friends that I contacted, who all said yes, they would like to have access to this as well. Would you be interested in knowing how you can earn income from doing the same thing that I just did, a very simple system of just handing out a business card and asking somebody that very simple question? So it's a very easy way to go back to people who become members, who then give you referrals, to ask them if they would like to take a look at the business as well. So it all starts with this question. And I call it mastering the 3-foot rule, because it's very easy to do that with a stranger. You don't have to do it with any kind of a beginning question when you're first starting to approach them. That approach can be very simple. So again, it goes back to making that approach, making a positive approach with somebody, building the rapport, qualifying to see what their interest level is, whether it's a hot interest level, a medium interest level, or very minimal interest level, and then getting the information that you need from them to be able to follow up and get them the information, and then the follow-up process so that you can get the sale, get the team member on board, and then get the referrals to start the process all over again. So with that, Darcy, I'm going to go ahead and turn the call back over to you. Any questions that we have?
Okay, John, you want to take it from here?
Yeah, let me just figure out how I get off mute there. And hey, Jolene, great job. I mean, what tremendous insights. And I'm kind of reminded of an old adage. You can't say the right thing to the wrong person, and you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. The bottom line is it takes us back to, what Nike's known for, just do it. Just simply do it. And, Jolene gave a great example of just, combining an amazing attitude with amazing posture, committing to the activity. And you could hear in her conversations the confidence that just comes from, a veteran, somebody who has walked the walk, and today is certainly sharing with every one of us, that talk the talk. So there's 13 plus years or 16 plus years experience from an amazing young lady, someone we're proud to call a friend. As soon as I can get my communications straight here, we'll be good. So Jolene, great job. And let's go let's go out to the field, and we're 13 after the hour. So if you have a question, a comment, if you've got an aha moment, something you'd like to just give thanks for, or something that kind of struck you really solid. There was a whole host of things there, a whole host of little wealth-building comments that are so valuable. So we'll go out to the field real quick, and there's Debbie Stevens. Debbie, comment from you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we sure can. Go ahead, Debbie.
I love the texting part about being able to just text somebody or email them really fast. And that is not something that I was aware of. Can we have that script back up on the screen? That was awesome. Thank you.
Perfect. Yeah, it's amazing as to how many tools are available in respect to us. And again, what I loved about what Jolene did was the simplicity, and not just the simplicity, but the power of listening when it came to comments to the questions that might be asked. So Debbie, great. Let's go to, there's John Beltry. John, we'll go out to Phoenix real quick. John Beltry, thoughts, comments?
Wow, Jolene, incredible presentation. I'm just absolutely blown away. First and foremost, I love the productivity tips. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen that in any presentation I've ever seen before, and that was just absolutely fantastic. I couldn't write fast enough. I love the way that the posture just, you don't care if they buy anything from you. You're either going to get a referral, or you'll get a sale, or you'll get something, but I love the transitions between the rapport and the qualifying. It's not the time to sell, and the purpose of qualifying is to get the information for a follow-up. I've never quite heard it put that way, and the transitioning from one stage to another, I think I can see where I can really, truly go out today and put this into action and improve my transitioning between my statements, because I use the 3-foot rule all the time. All of my associates have come from the 3-foot rule for the most part. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And excellent job. Wow, this just blew me away today. Thank you.
We've got a thanks, John. Absolutely. We've got a question from one of the attendees. Could you show the follow-up slide again? I don't know if you've seen that, but Darcy, if you could show the follow-up slide again. Steve Hales, we can't call on you unless you call in to the put in the access code and the listen line, the PIN code and the access code. I see you've got your hand up, but you've got to come into the audio portion. So if you can do that, we'll be glad to reach out to you. Brendan, Jerry, anybody from our panelist side, any comments or questions from any of our Millionaire Club members or six-figure ring earners?
Yes, John. Hi, this is Jerry.
Hello, Jerry. Great to have you, sir.
Oh, well, thank you. Hey, Jolene, great job. I love the 3-foot rule, and I mean, keep it simple. I mean, you've really pulled it together. I've never seen this before, and although I do some of it, there's some use of the text, as someone said earlier. I mean, this is great to add to it. But I'd like to add some candidates. I have an Edward Jones guy that came to my door, and I invited him in, and I listened to him, and then I used this process to recruit him. I mean, and as it developed, he wasn't making half the money that he could be when doing this, and that's what opened his eyes. But I started the process with this. We also had a pest control salesperson come to the door. He's a young guy in a with a tie on in Phoenix, and it turns out that he was back to you, John.
Yeah, hey, Jerry, I appreciate you bringing that up. I know that I can't remember if it's what we have, DirecTV or Charter. I don't know. Maybe it's Charter that we have. But yeah, we had a service tech come out, a pretty sharp guy. We just got to talking, and he helped us with some of the internet issues that we were having, and all I did is ask him a couple of questions, and prospected him, and he came on board not only with the membership. Or frustrated me, I just said, Pete, my position is the same as it was before. At this time, I'm not interested. He's like, well, thank you so much. Do you mind if, I keep the door open? I'm like, no, you can keep the door open, and, maybe down the road you've got something that'll be, better, something that will bring more of a solution to what it is we're looking for. Anderson windows. Darcy and I put in quite a few windows in the back of our house, and that was probably 2 or 3 years ago. Well, there's a gentleman still calling me today about possibly doing the walkout to our downstairs by the pool area. And I've told him no at this point, no at this point, no at this point. And, my get in their mind a little bit of fear. Well, should I call them? Well, should I call them? Well, should I follow up? Should I follow up? Again, just do it, because they're not saying N-O. They're saying, I just don't K-N-O-W. Or they're saying, maybe not now. You have no idea 2 months later what they heard on the radio regarding identity theft. You have no idea what may be happening in their family. Continue to keep your product in front of them. Be the legal Shield ambassador you're called to be. Anybody, let's just see. Darcy, any final comments from you? We don't have any more questions out there.
I just wanted to show what video she's using. Here's the that is why she has, and she just keeps doing it over and over. So it's a numbers game that's added to her simple approach, and I think that's the key that I saw in Jolene. Jolene, any other comments you'd like to add as far as the success you've had with the 3-foot rule and the simplicity of just answering questions with a simple answer versus a complicated answer?
Well, thank you, Darcy, and I appreciate that. And there is one quick thing that I do want to add to this as well. this works so well in all the different channels, as I said, and I failed to give you guys an example of cold calling to businesses for employee benefits and small business. I was out with one of the new associates who has a strong sales background, who loves going cold calling. That yes, I would. You could offer this to us as a benefit, and I got the appointment right on the spot to talk to the business owner about offering this to a group that has 55 employees. So it works in all the channels. It's the same thing that I do over and over and over and over and over and over again. It's mastering the mundane, and it's doing it with the, like you said, I care about people's response in terms of being able to help them, but I don't really care whether they say yes or no to me at that time, because I know that more people are going to say yes than they are going to say no.
That's great. Position of strength all the way through. One other comment, don't prejudge.